Picture a smart, hard-working professional who carefully tracks every single monthly expense and takes enormous pride in making rational money choices every single day. This person sits down at their computer to purchase a simple digital news subscription that costs $59, which is precisely what they actually need. But within 3 short minutes of scrolling through the checkout options, they willingly walk away spending $125 for a bundle they never wanted. What makes this situation so disturbing is that this exact scenario happens to millions of intelligent people every single week without them ever noticing the psychological trap. Your brain has a hidden architectural flaw that completely distorts how you evaluate prices, and corporations spend billions exploiting this exact vulnerability every single day. What most people never realize is that the same mental glitch that keeps you overspending on daily purchases is the same one that prevents you from building real wealth. I break down one core psychological concept every single video in plain English so you can understand human behavior. So take a second to subscribe right now. By understanding how these hidden mental traps operate in your daily life, you will instantly protect your hard-earned financial freedom for the rest of your future. Let us examine what actually happened in that subscription scenario, because behavioral scientists spent years studying this exact pricing structure with real human consumers. The first option was a digital subscription for $59. The second was print-only for $125, and the third was a print plus digital combo for $125. When students were presented with all 3 options, 84% chose the expensive combo, 16% chose digital only, and absolute 0 chose the print-only offer. The middle option looked completely useless because nobody in their right mind would buy print alone when they could get both print and digital for the exact same price. Think about the last time you saw a completely pointless middle price tier on a menu or checkout page, because that useless option was put there intentionally. Professor Ariely then removed that middle print-only option entirely and presented the remaining 2 options to a completely new group of 100 eager students. Without that middle option, 68% of students chose the cheap $59 digital plan, while only 32% chose the expensive combo bundle. By simply adding and removing a single useless option, the researcher completely flipped what intelligent people considered the most rational choice for their wallet. The official name for this psychological phenomenon is the Decoy Effect, and once you recognize how it works, you will start seeing it absolutely everywhere around you. The useless middle option acts as an asymmetric decoy that makes one of the other options look like an irresistible bargain by comparison, even when it costs more. Humans are fundamentally incapable of measuring absolute value in isolation, so our brain relies entirely on relative comparison to make almost every single financial choice. Before I show you how global companies manipulate this psychological blind spot to drain your bank account, let us look at the deeper evolutionary reason this occurs. Your brain evolved thousands of years ago in environments where survival depended on quick relative judgments rather than precise mathematical calculation of complex long-term value. When faced with difficult decisions, your brain actively seeks out easy comparisons to reduce cognitive effort, even if those comparisons trick you into spending more money. Nobel Prize-winning psychologists Daniel Kahneman, and Amos Tversky, proved in their landmark 1979 prospect theory research that losses hurt twice as much as gains feel good. Because avoiding the feeling of a missed opportunity is paramount to human survival, pricing decoys manipulate your fear of missing out on a perceived discount. But here is where the story gets significantly darker, because multi-billion-dollar corporations have turned this academic psychological discovery into a precise science of financial extraction. Popcorn stands in movie theaters offer a small popcorn for $4, a medium for $7, and a massive large bucket for $7.50. The medium popcorn exists exclusively as a decoy to make the massive bucket feel like a total bargain, driving thousands of customers to spend maximum money. Tech giants use decoy pricing on cloud storage tiers, software subscriptions, and smartphone storage options to push buyers toward high-margin premium models effortlessly. Real estate agents frequently show home buyers an overpriced house in poor condition first, making the second houses they view look remarkably attractive by direct contrast. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you in the next 2 minutes reveals how this exact mental trap secretly affects your personal life. The decoy effect does not merely dictate how you buy software or popcorn. It heavily influences your career choices, major life investments, and overall life satisfaction. Imagine turning down a $70,000 salary that would make you incredibly happy, simply because a colleague was offered $75,000 for the same work. The second offer acts as a psychological decoy that transforms a fantastic life event into a source of personal misery through the toxic trap of relative comparison. When you evaluate choices based on artificial comparisons set by others, you hand over complete control of your financial well-being and daily happiness to marketers. Fortunately, once you understand how your brain processes relative contrast, you can implement simple, research-backed strategies to completely neutralize this psychological manipulation instantly. Whenever you see 3 pricing options presented together, immediately strip away the middle choice and ask yourself what you actually needed before opening the page. Always evaluate choices against your personal, absolute needs and budget limits, rather than comparing the options directly against each other on a clever sales page. So let us pull all of these crucial insights together into a simple framework that you can remember for the rest of your life. First, human brains naturally judge value using relative comparison rather than absolute calculation, making us highly vulnerable to clever artificial contrasts presented in marketing. Second, corporations place decoy options strategically to make expensive target products look like incredible deals, draining your hard-earned savings without your awareness. Third, by isolating your true original need before shopping, you shield yourself from psychological manipulation and keep full command over your personal financial destiny. When you begin analyzing your daily purchases through this clear lens, you will quickly notice how many unnecessary expenses you were lured into making in the past. Marketers rely heavily on the assumption that consumers will react emotionally to contrast, rather than stepping back to calculate the true value of their money. Every time you decline an artificial upgrade or step away from an engineered pricing decoy, you reinforce a healthier financial mindset that prioritizes long-term security. Building lasting financial resilience requires deliberate awareness of how subtle psychological nudges continuously influence your everyday economic choices. The most successful financial planners are not just good at mathematics, they are masters at recognizing and neutralizing their own cognitive biases before spending. Once you train yourself to spot asymmetric decoys in real time, you effectively shut down one of the most powerful marketing engines ever designed. Take a moment to audit your current active subscriptions, because chances are high that at least one of them was chosen under the influence of decoy pricing. Downgrading to the tier that actually matches your practical needs is an instant way to claw back money that would otherwise slip away unnoticed every month. Sharing this knowledge with your friends and family helps create a community of conscious consumers who are immune to predatory pricing tactics. Financial literacy is less about complex stock charts and much more about mastering the subtle psychological forces that govern human choice every day. When you teach young people how relative comparison distorts value, you equip them with a lifelong defense against manipulative retail environments. The next time you walk into a store or browse an online shop, challenge yourself to identify the target product and the decoy before making a decision. Turning this mental check into a habit turns shopping from an emotional impulse test into an empowering exercise in logical financial control. Remember that true value is never determined by how much money a company claims you are saving on a bundle, but by whether you actually needed the product. Protecting your money from psychological exploitation gives you the freedom to direct your resources toward things that genuinely enrich your life. Mastering your mind is the ultimate secret to mastering your money, and every conscious decision you make brings you one step closer to complete independence. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep unpacking the fascinating hidden psychology behind human decision-making, wealth creation, and behavior. Share this video with one person you know who deserves to understand how money psychology works, because one great conversation could change their financial future forever.